Well, Jimmy, I'm going to start things off. Talking about the critics of Wikipedia, what would you say to those who say there is systematic bias and inconsistencies which undermine the educational value of Wikipedia?
So when we think about what are the systematic biases in Wikipedia, because there definitely are some. The biases in Wikipedia are, to some extent, a natural outgrowth of the kinds of people who are editing Wikipedia. So we tend to be geeks, right? And so we're really, really strong on tech topics, right? If you look up the article on the USB standard, for plugging things into your computer, it's really a fabulous article. It's great in many different ways. It starts off with a basic explanation that's accessible to any computer user. It goes into a little bit of the history. I was interested in the history because I wanted to know why in the hell did it take so long to be able to just plug in my camera and have it work. It just forever for this to be invented and now it works. And then further down in the article, it gets incredibly detailed, like far more than I wanted to know. So I stopped reading, including like a pen diagram showing you what each pen does, which ones carry power and data and whatnot. We're really, really good at that kind of topic. We're probably not nearly as good as we should be if you're interested in 18th century poetry or something like this, right? Because we tend to be tech geeks more than poetry geeks. So there are those kinds of systematic biases. We have other biases, though, that I think are fairly harmless. I think it's sometimes you'll see, and it's fun to poke fun at Wikipedia in this way. You can do a count and say, do we have more articles about the Muppets than we do about members of parliament in India? And the answer is, yeah, probably we do, right? And that's unfortunate, but I don't think there's really much to be done about it, and I don't think it causes a problem. I know one thing, whoever is very busily writing articles about Miss Piggy, I wouldn't suggest that we try to retask them on, writing about Shakespeare or something, right? They're writing what they know about, and that's fine. And in the long run, we're better off just focusing on trying to attract more people, get more involvement from more different kinds of people, and things like that.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions? Just here, the second row.
I'm a biologist studying the diversity of life, and in my field, there's been many attempts to create something like Wikipedia, but where everybody contributes to get a database of all the species on Earth and where they fit in taxonomically. Now, they've never worked. I mean, they're growing, but they're not working like even like the species pages on Wikipedia. Do you see your company maybe doing something about this and maybe making something that would be more useful to us?
Yeah. So. I'll repeat the question and sum it up for everyone. So the question is, biologists have been trying for a long time to create a kind of a database of species that everyone can contribute to and have a universal storehouse. And most of those projects have not done very well. Some of them are existing and going okay, and some are not doing well at all. And mostly they're not even as good as Wikipedia at this point. So there's a few reasons for that, I think. I mean, one reason is Wikipedia itself is a great place to do that kind of thing. But Wikipedia is probably not the best place in the long run for that kind of information. Probably Wikipedia should be relying on something like that as a source. One of the examples I would give to kind of illustrate this is that the Wikipedia entry on sharks, for example, should have a lot of very good biological information and that's accessible to the general public. But the Wikipedia entry also has a section called Sharks in Popular Culture, which is about things like the movie Jaws, which you would probably want to exclude from a scientific database. It's really not relevant. And then additionally, in a reference work that's written by biologists, for biologists and other scientists, you probably can get a lot more technical. You can use a lot of technical jargon that you really wouldn't want to freely and loosely use in a general interest encyclopedia. So I think that the projects are somehow different, but complementary. There's another aspect of this as well, and that is that right now Wikipedia is pretty much all unstructured text. You click at it and there's templates and tables and things, but by and large, the way it's stored in the database is just a blob of text per article. And for a lot of scientific taxonomy taxonomy information and things like this, you really want it to be stored in a proper table structure so that you can do all kinds of querying and searching. It's not something my company would be working on right now. At Wikia, the primary thing we are working on is building large public-facing wikis as opposed to doing scientific kinds of stuff. There are a few developments that I think are quite useful and are going to become more popular, things like Semantic Media Wiki. It's a version of the software that allows for semantic markup that's really cool. And I just think it's going to take time for one or more of these projects to coalesce. We actually launched Wiki Species, is one of the sister projects, which as far as I know is completely dead. So we tried it and failed. But yeah, I think that this kind of collaborative work in a very open system by scientists is going to be important in a lot of different fields.
Yes, in your talk you said that Wikipedia is not an encyclopedia or a textbook, but sometimes, especially with more historical entries, I have the impression that it actually is. And you know, I go there and want to find quick information, and then what I have to read is like an article which goes on like for half an hour. Are there any plans to make like, you know, summaries at the beginning of an article, because that's what I find something. I mean, that's what turns me off Wikipedia sometimes.
So what she's asking is, I said it a little differently, but I would say Wikipedia is supposed to be an encyclopedia, not a textbook. And what she's saying is that for some articles, some historical articles, it ends up being a bit wordy and long, and it's more of a textbook than an encyclopedia. And the question is, well, what can be done about this? So there's a few things that happen naturally over time, and that the community very much supports. So one of the ideas is that the structure of an entry in Wikipedia should be something like what I described when I talked about the USB example. The introductory paragraph should be more or less a quick summary of the entire topic. And for many, many uses, when you just need a quick reference, that first paragraph should give you basically what you need to know. Then there should be a little table of contents for the article, which with clearly labeled sections. So if you need to drill down deeper, you can click and go down and find just the information you need to know. And then additionally, what should happen is if an article is starting to get too long, somebody should come in and really think about how do you split it up into sub-articles? What are some of the things that shouldn't be in just this one article? So if you, think about, so actually a fun way to poke fun at Wikipedia is compare the length of different articles. So somebody once pointed out in a blog, and I forget the exact example, but there was a character from the Sonic the Hedgehog video game who had a longer entry about this one character than our article on China, right? So this is really funny, but actually it's unfair, and actually, to my mind, that's actually a reasonably good thing. The reason that is, it's not that we have more information about one video character than we have about China, it's that the China article has lots of links out of it to subheadings. We don't put everything about China in one giant, 300-page long article. We keep the China article pared down to a sensible size, and actually probably this one video game character, you wouldn't want to maybe break it down. It pretty much has everything you could possibly want in that one article. So in general, this happens naturally over time, and it's a constant struggle because, again, it's one of the things, editorially, different editors may have a different view on how long an entry should be before you start breaking it down, and there's constant sort of scuffles and debates about that kind of thing, particularly on political topics, because there's a lot of sort of advanced Wikipedia judo that goes on with people who have some kind of an agenda. If you don't like that there's something in the main article about Israel, a great technique is to move it out to a side article because you think fewer people will read it that way or something like this. So, and then some people are mad. They say, well, that's an important fact. It needs to be in the main article, and they go back and forth. Usually, though, people do try to pay attention to this. It may be better or worse in certain areas, depending on how many editors are focused on it.